Okay, so today we're gonna be making a turtle out of fondant. And it's gonna look something like this. I might change the colors up a little bit, but that's gonna be our basic turtle. Super fun and easy to do with kids, and you can use them as cake toppers. You can put them on cupcakes, on cookies, you can eat them. So let's go ahead and get started. You are gonna need some plain white fondant. I buy Wilton brand. You can get it at Walmart, and it just comes in a big slab. And you're also gonna need dyes, not regular food coloring. They need to be gel-based. And they come in these little tubes like this, and you can get them at Hobby Lobby or Walmart. And I just have a bag of a ton of different colors, which you could also mix. Okay, then you're gonna need a toothpick and a tiny little bowl of water, okay? Oh, and a little bit of Crisco. I like to rub some Crisco on my hands to prevent the fondant from sticking or cracking. So I just rub a little bit, almost like lotion, on my hands to get started. Okay, so first we're gonna start by dyeing our fondant. We're gonna need green, brown, black, and white today. So we'll start with the largest part of our turtle, which is gonna be the shell. So I'm gonna grab a chunk, the fondant off, about the size of a big marshmallow. A little bit bigger, some more. Yeah, that's about good. So this is gonna be our shell, okay? Then I'm gonna grab a ball slightly smaller for the head, legs, and the tail, and it's gonna be green. Okay, let me see. It's probably good. Okay. So our first ball again was about the size of a marshmallow. Okay, and it could be bigger, smaller, however you want. And my next ball is just gonna be the green for the head, legs, and tail. So it's a little bit smaller. Then I'm gonna pull aside just a pinch of white because I'm gonna need it for the eyes. Probably not even that much. Okay, and just put it to the side. And then another little pinch of fondant because we're gonna dye black for the eyes as well. And you could do blue eyes if you want. You could do whatever color you choose. So just, you should have big ball for the body, little ball for the arms, legs, and tail. Save a little white for the eyes, and a little, this is gonna be black for the eyes as well. Okay, so those are the 4 colors that we're gonna need. Okay, and then make sure you just seal up your package so that it doesn't dry out. All right, so let's go ahead and start by dyeing our turtle shell. So go ahead and grab your larger ball, put everything to the side. And I like just, if it's cracky at all or dry, I like to just kind of knead it like you would knead dough. So I just don't roll right away, just start kind of pulling. So I just stretch it and pull it until it's nice and soft, a good consistency without cracks or dry chunks in it. And if it does feel a little sticky or cracky, just put a tad bit of Crisco on your fingers. Just oils them up a little bit. And it puts oil into the fondant, which makes it smoother consistency. Okay, so to dye it, I flatten it like a pancake. Okay, I'm gonna grab my brown dye, and I'm just gonna put about 5 or so drops on it. And then I'm gonna fold this in half. I'm gonna stretch it out, fold again, stretch, fold, stretch, fold, and keep on going. And you'll notice it's starting to turn brown. So you just gotta keep stretching and folding, okay? And it does at times get a little bit sticky during this process, but just add a tiny bit of Crisco and you should be fine. Okay, so I got my brown for the shell. We're also gonna use a piece of this for the little spots on the top. Okay. Here's our brown ball that was once white. Okay. And your hands should be pretty clean. Got a little bit of brown. If you do have brown dye or black dye on them, you can go ahead and wash them so that they don't mix into the next color we're gonna do. But if you do wash your hands, make sure they are super, super, super dry before you begin again, because water makes fondant extremely sticky and impossible to work with. Okay? So there's our brown. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the green. So grab our green, our white ball that's gonna be green. It was slightly smaller than the first. Okay. So again, I just flatten it out. And I'm gonna go ahead and put about 3 or 4 little dots on here. And if you want it to be really dark green or really vibrant, you could put more dye. If you want it to be lighter, just put less dye. And if you accidentally put too much and you want it lighter, just add white to your ball and it'll lighten it up. Okay, so again, just stretching, just play with it like Play-Doh. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Make sure your food coloring is not your standard food coloring, because that stuff is water-based and it'll make this very sticky. So you have to make sure the food coloring that you buy is gel base. Okay. All right, a little bit sticky there. Not too bad. Okay. All right, so now you should have big brown ball, little green ball, okay? And again, we have just a little white for our eyes. I'll put these right here so you can see them. A little white for your eyes, and then let's go ahead and make the black. Let's go ahead and dye this little thing black. I'm gonna dye it last because you will probably get black on your fingers and you're gonna have to wash your hands after this last color. This black just happens to come in a little tub. It's still the same food coloring though. I'm just gonna dip it in there. Again, if it's in a little squeeze bottle, just put a couple drops, maybe just 1 drop, because this is just a tiny bit that we want black. Okay, gets messy when you're dyeing little tiny balls like this. It does tend to get messier in all of your hands. Okay. All right. It's a little bit light. It's almost a gray, so I'm gonna put more black on it. So I just put a little drop of black, darken it up a bit, make sure it's nice and dark. And again, your turtle can be whatever color you want. If you want the shell to be blue, that's fine. If you want the eyes to be blue. Okay. All right, so here we go. Move that. Move our ladybug out of the way. Okay. So now we have brown, green, tiny bit of white, a little bit of black. Okay, I'm gonna go wash my hands because I have a little bit of black on them. Okay, again, just make sure your hands are nice and super, super dry. All right, let's clean that up and get started. So that was just kind of your basic how to dye the fondant. Okay, so I'm gonna put these colors to the side and start with our shell. So again, just grab your big brown chunk, stretch, stretch, stretch. If it looks cracky or dry, add a little bit of Crisco to your fingers, not a ton, and just kind of work with it so it's nice and smooth. This one's pretty smooth. So go ahead at this time, rip off There's our ball. Just rip off a chunk for our spots. About that size, okay? Put that down, and let's go ahead and shape our shell. So make a good ball. If you have cracks or lines, just keep kneading it until it's smooth. But here's our ball for our shell. And all I'm gonna do is put my thumb underneath the bottom, and I'm gonna keep turning the shell and pinch the sides, almost like the top of a mushroom. And again, if you want your shell to be flat, you can make it flatter. I want mine to be more like the top of a mushroom. Okay?